It's been about 6 years since I got myself in real estate, both investing as well as being an agent. Now the downside to that is there's been plenty of lessons learned. So today I'm gonna be educating you guys on exactly what you should know, what you should avoid, and basically utilize a lot of the experiences I unfortunately have had to go through to make sure that you don't. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is taxes. It is imperative as a business owner that you get a CPA that knows what the heck they're doing. To be honest with you, my financial advisor, which is also a prior CPA, helps me far more than my actual CPA does. When it comes to investing in real estate, you're not going to be able to purchase a house as a business owner unless you have 2 years of tax returns. But it doesn't stop there. 2 years of tax returns does not guarantee that you're going to be able to purchase a house. 2 years of tax returns filed the correct way and showing that your business is actually profitable is really the way that you're going to be able to afford a house on your own. I actually tried to purchase a third property before I quit my W-2 job, realized that my debt to income ratio was far too high, so I had to essentially wait an additional 2 years before I bought that third property. I got with a good CPA, made sure I filed my taxes correctly, so when it did come to purchasing that third property, there were no issues because I actually had a profitable business that I had filed tax returns on the last 2 years. The biggest issue, and probably one of the biggest regrets a lot of folks have opening up their own business, is they write everything off. They write everything off and their business, in a sense, is not making any money. If they're not making any money, you're not gonna be able to qualify for a traditional mortgage. Now, the next lesson that I learned was actually just last year in 2022. It was actually a situation that I had just completed myself, and that's a 1031 exchange.
Hey guys, Sam here. I'm Casey's videographer and editor. And if you're like me, you have no idea what a 1031 exchange is. So here's a nice graphic to explain. Still not helping. I guess you sell your property, give the funds to a qualified intermediary, then within 45 days select a replacement property, and then at 180 days purchase said replacement property. It's like Indiana Jones and the Artifact, but with real estate. Now let's see how many times Casey says 1031.
If you've been following my journey, I sold my fourplex December of 2021 and used a 1031 exchange to roll the funds into a 4-unit office space. Now that 4-unit office space is cash flowing, I've moved out of it, and I just have 3 tenants giving me rent every single month on it. That was a pretty easy 1031 exchange. I 1031'd into a construction loan, did a little bit of work on 2 of the 4 units, but the thing is I had an additional 1031 exchange in May of 2022 when I sold my duplex to purchase a Broken Bow cabin up in Oklahoma. Now this particular instance was a little bit different because I was dealing with a smaller bank. The smaller bank itself pre-approved me essentially for the entire construction loan, both the land and the construction job for the cabin, but my assumption was I was pre-approved with a 20% down payment, but in reality they were actually using the entire funds that I was getting from the sale of that duplex as the assumed amount that I was going to be putting down on that Broken Bow cabin. The difference in quick numbers here is about $315,000 profit from my actual duplex from when I purchased it, but I only wanted to put about $215,000 down towards my Broken Bow cabin. Well, the downside of that is I then utilized my 1031 exchange for $215 of it, closed on the duplex, tried to apply that and close on the Broken Bow cabin, but then I was told that you're not pre-approved for $215,000 down, you're approved for $315,000. Now in layman terms, what that means is that $100,000 that I just elected to not 1031 and put into my personal checking account, I'm now stuck in this year, 2023, paying about $35,000 in additional taxes for that amount that I had in gains in 2022. And this is probably a little bit too much information for you guys, but I am having a large tax bill due for 2022, and that in itself is one of the biggest reasons why. Now, the next lesson I learned also in 2022, and I guess you could say I started it in 2021. I feel like I may be beating a dead horse at this point in terms of teaching people, or I guess educating people, that there isn't one line to success in real estate. And I learned it the hard way, is building a real estate team. Now, I've made actual full-on videos about this and the struggles that I had building my real estate team, but I'll just give you guys some quick numbers. I spent $400,000 in 2022 attempting to build a real estate team. What I can tell you is I only made $125,000 from that real estate team. So last year alone, I was spending about $275,000 of my earned money, not from the team itself, but earned income from myself to support the team that I essentially around August or September of 2022 got rid of completely. Now the next lesson I learned, and I actually have learned this a few times, unfortunately, sometimes I don't learn them the first time, is being too kind when it comes to putting tenants in place. Now this particular lesson I'm sure has been learned by plenty of landlords. My first experience was actually buying my first investment property, inheriting a duplex, and realizing that there was already one tenant in place and I moved to the other side. I would have instances where I would not get a background check, I would not get a credit check, I would just make sure that they were a valid individual and that I could get along with them. And at the end of the day, I can actually tell you a situation that I didn't get a background check on, and I actually found out from Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a local app that you basically can contribute to folks living around you. Now Nextdoor actually informed me that they wouldn't allow me to participate within their app because my physical residence had a sex offender living at it. Obviously that was not me, that was the individual that I rented out 2 rooms in my second investment property or my single family residence. Now luckily enough, those 6 months went by with no issue and really no recourse, but it could have been very, very ugly. Now the last lesson that I've learned in real estate over really the last 5 to 6 years, and this is really more of a personal preference, is when it comes to investing, I'm gonna invest in my own properties and not co-invest or partner with anyone else. Now I will make a disclaimer here, there's syndications and there's other investment opportunities that I definitely participate in, but if it comes to buying just a traditional rental or single family or an apartment building, at this point, I don't have a ton of interest in partnering. I am very happy with the portfolio that I have. I've accrued about $5 million in real estate over the last 5 or 6 years. Now the downside to that would have been if I partnered with anyone at all for any of the properties that I purchased, I would be looking at a far less amount of net worth because a large amount of my net worth is actually in the appreciation in the homes that I bought. Now I'm not sitting here saying I'm selfish, but when it comes to my personal properties, I take a pride and joy in every single one of them, especially finding good tenants, and I feel blessed with the opportunity to have done it myself, not had to pay a property management company, and when it really comes down to even investing in the property itself, making sure that I'm doing my due diligence and making sure that the property is right for me and only me. If you personally have experienced any lessons learned in real estate, I'd love to hear some of your comments. Feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to read every single one of them. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really does help, and stay tuned for the next video.